and welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we're doing sort of a cheater's version of creme caramel. This is a sort of a Mexican style flan, and this one is dead easy. It is, like I said, it's a little bit of a cheater way to do it. You don't have to make your own caramel, you don't really have to make your own custard. We're going to start with some ingredients here and show you how to do it. So we're going to start with some eggs. We're going to use a can of evaporated milk, a can of condensed milk, which is of course sweetened, a little bit of dark corn syrup, and a little bit of vanilla. That's it. That's the whole recipe. It's really, really simple. Really easy. We're going to start with whole eggs. We don't have to separate the eggs for this one. We're not making a real custard here. It's going to be quite simple. So we're going to start by just putting our eggs in the bowl here. So this is going to be 6 eggs. And once you've got those all in your bowl, we are going to just give those a little whisk together to make sure they are a little bit beaten. Now you can do this with a blender or an immersion blender as well. We find it adds a little bit more air into the recipe than we want, so we're just going to do it by hand. Into our eggs, we're going to add the evaporated milk. Get all those little milk solids out of there as well, so anything that's sort of stuck to the inside of the can. Then we're going to add our sweetened condensed milk. And you can see they're quite a different texture. The condensed milk is a little tougher to stir in because it is so thick and quite syrupy. The sugar does make it a bit harder to combine into the overall recipe, so when we start mixing this, we want to do it kind of delicately. So once you've got the whole can in and you just want to scrape everything out of there, it can be a little bit tough because the Eagle brand in particular certainly has that little lip around the outside, so it makes it a little tougher. So we just want to give everything a good combine. Now you can see we're starting a little bit slow here. We're not doing full stroke through the whole mixture because that condensed milk is still quite thick and syrupy. It's not blending in really quickly, so we just want to be a little bit gentle to start. Once it starts to sort of work its way in and you notice that it's starting to blend in nicely, then you can go a little bit harder and make sure that everything's really well combined without adding in too much air. Again, this is not a recipe that you want to be really light and fluffy. This is more of a dense, creamy dessert once it's baked. So this is about the texture that we're hoping to get it to. We're going to add our vanilla. Now we're using a double extract here, but if you're using regular vanilla, as much as you like, you can also add other flavors to this if you prefer. So we're going to get our vanilla in there and give that a last little stir to make sure that everything is well combined. There you go. Once the vanilla is all mixed in, then we're ready to move on to the baking. So if you want to do this the hard way, you can make your own caramel, but you can cheat and use a little bit of dark corn syrup like this. Karo syrup, the dark Karo syrup is sort of traditional in this recipe, but we didn't have access to that, so we have this dark corn syrup. It's more golden than dark, but it does serve the purpose. So you just want a really thin coating at the bottom of your ramekins. And then once that's on all of them, we're going to start adding in our egg mixture. So this is our custard, air quotes, custard, and we're just going to add this into our ramekins. We're just going to pull that up all the way to the just to that little shoulder in the ramekin. It doesn't really rise all that much. It's not going to inflate a whole bunch. It will get very slightly larger from heat as it cooks, but it's not going to get huge. It's not going to puff up. It's not going to souffle at all. So that's going to be. It's not going to rise much past where it is already. So once you have all your ramekins ready, we want them in a roasting pan like this with a towel on the bottom. We're going to put these into a water bath. Now, we're going to take our preheated oven, and we should be making sure that the racks are in the correct place before we get started. So apologize for that, but we're going to get this rack ready. And the easiest way to do this is to place your the roasting pan with your flan in it onto the shelf, onto your rack. And then you want to have some already hot water. So we had our kettle going. This water was boiling just before we added it. And what the water does is it makes for a little more even heat through everything. It's makes sure that nothing gets scorched, nothing gets burned. It sort of evens everything out while everything is cooking. So we're just going to bake this in this water bath. The towel is just there to stop them from moving around in the roasting pan in the water. Just keeps them a little bit more secure. So that's going to go into our oven. Very, very delicately. You don't want to spill the water or the flan. And then that's just going to bake. But that's really done. So once the baking is done, you can see here they have all set. They are just a little bit wiggly. They're basically the texture of pretty firm Jell-O. They're just sort of barely jiggly still in the middle. And that's it. They're done. Really, really simple. You can see just a tiny bit of wiggle in there. So we're just going to put these on a rack to cool for a little while. It is pretty traditional to serve these chilled, actually, so out of the fridge. And letting them cool like this also allows them to just sort of carry over. So once this is cool, we let this be in the fridge for a little while until it became nice and cool. We're just going to run a good thin-bladed knife around the outside. Now, they don't always perfectly release the first time, so just you sometimes may need to just pull it away from the walls a little bit and get a little air in behind it. And it should pop right out. And the corn syrup comes out a little bit more caramelized than it went in, and that makes the nice sauce on top of the flan. And then traditionally, this is served with a little bit of lime juice on top, which some people think looks a little odd, but is absolutely delicious. So definitely recommend trying it. Just take a little eighth wedge of lime, cut it down the middle, give it a little twist. Make sure you get some lime juice on there, and that's it. That's the whole thing. Super, super simple. This is such a cheater's recipe. It's really delicious. It'll definitely impress your guests. It makes them think that you're just a whiz baking in the oven. Fantastic. Really, really delicious. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember to love your food.